Keep my,
You're gonna get your
feet in good condition.
I was sure she did one I wore today. I was like, I'm too hot, I can wear something like more shorts.
I didn't bring no rag clubs in this hand.
I'm sure somebody in this building has one.
Drinking this one?
And Michelle's a drinker.
But it's cooler.
You have to drink within.
That was the few girls had it, as a matter of fact.
You don't drink it, man.
Water.
Let's put it in this tin.
All right, we are at 10 o'clock. We'll reconvene and we will start going over the commissioner's budget. That is on page
26.
26. Thank you.
Good.
All right, we can just, Phil, if you want to start from the very top and just work your way down.
Let's just go with unemployment, 10,000, we reduced it. Overtime and vacation holiday, 30,000, same as last year. County attorney, 36,013, same as last year. Commissioner's budget, 68,536, we're up on that one. No, 68,536, we didn't put nothing in. County council, 48,136. Park secretary, 0. Fairgrounds caretaker, 25,500, same as last year. Grant administration, we wasn't having no luck finding anybody for that. We dropped that one this year. PERF, 500,000. Group health and life insurance, we did have to go to 1.2. Our insurance has raised quite a bit this year. And that's where we are. FICA, 500,000. Park and Recreation Director, 45,498. Longevity, 55,000. Maintenance contract, 475. I'll go ahead and come back to that. IT equipment, 20,000. We do have to upgrade some of the equipment at the Justice Center. General expenses, 20,000, same as last year. Postage, 60,000, same as last year. Official bonds and insurance, 6,000. The building structure insurance, 450,000. I will come back and make a statement on that one. Telephone, 40,000, same as last year. Legal services, 30,000, same as last year. County council attorney, 11,900. Publication of legal notices, 10,000. Care of patient inmates, 260,000. I am going to come back and make a statement on that one. Barrel for soldiers, 13,000. And I failed to ask Kevin, is he okay with that number?
Yes.
Is he running any more than that?
Which number?
Kevin,
Michelle said he was fine.
you okay?
He's fine in his budget, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he hasn't spent, but, yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay. Care of patient inmates, 260,000. Barrel for soldiers, 13,000. I was okay there. 425 on ambulance service. Juvenile detention, 180,000. That number is higher. Debt service, 10,000. Cost allocation plan, 3575. Mental health, 156,072. Membership dues, 2,600, same as last year. Commission dues, 700. Intellectual disability, 91,000. HR training services, 0. I guess we could say we got Cheryl trained on that one. Phone systems and network infrastructure, 160,000.
Or you could continue on mental health. We got our
state mandated appropriation for it yesterday evening, and it should be 157,269.
That's what the state
That is
can
what
do.
the state said, yes.
That's Live Spring.
Yes,
157, what,
269.
269?
Okay, are you asking, I'd like to go into different line items now. Does that work for you, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay. For perf, did you raise that expecting raises?
Yes.
Is that why? Okay. Because at this point, I'm looking at the breakdown and it looks like, you know, to date, we've spent 163,000, but there were still 286,000 in there, so I wasn't sure if there was enough of a cushion as it is, or is it something that does need the extra 50,000 if we do raises?
I think there's enough of a cushion.
Okay. Okay. And then same thing with health insurance. What's the quote that you got for this year?
Say it again.
The quote that you've gotten for this year for health insurance?
Right now, we're, the one we won't get before next month, but it looks like what they're projecting as it is going to be quite a bit higher. We had new appraisals on some of our buildings, and the insurance did make a raise. And-
For the group health?
Yeah.
For the health insurance, not building insurance? health insurance.
No,
For the health insurance.
no help.
You do not know that, okay. So you put that increase in there expecting a higher quote back?
Yeah, they really don't get that quote until September, October, if you're lucky.
Okay, okay,
We tried, but we can't get it.
that's okay. Thank you.
Well, they don't know what the risk is.
Right. Okay, another one I have a question on is FICA. So Michelle, same thing with FICA as perf. There's, you know, the amount that's been expended so far is less than half.
Yeah.
So significantly less than half. So do you think as it was last year that there'd be enough of a cushion? If that's something that we had to cut?
Let me check something.
Okay.
Actually, I think back that one back down. I think it'll be okay.
At 450?
Yeah.
Okay. And then longevity, when does that typically pay out? Is that paid out towards the end of the year?
Yeah.
Since there's nothing?
Right before Thanksgiving, November.
Okay.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then Phil, I think you said you were going to talk about maintenance and contracts. The maintenance contracts line item.
The commissioners are considering taking over the maintenance at the jail.
Yes.
Some of the stuff we're contracting with HMC right now, and we feel like we could cut some of the cost off of HMC and put somebody, I don't know how to say this. We'd like to have somebody a little more trained in some of the equipment we've got out there.
You like to restructure the position?
Yeah. And that's one thing that I think we're going to come to the council for next year. Like to run that.
But you're budgeting for doing that now, right?
No.
No, we don't have it, we didn't. We've been trying to get it done.
Here's my answer, and I won't be on the council next year.
Say it again.
You're expecting to cover your cost of the person versus doing the work outside with the same monies or less.
I'm with the understanding that by this change, you should expect to save money with restructuring the position and the way that the maintenance is handled.
Some of the things, we're using HMC, which is overqualified.
And you'd like to do those things internally.
And do it internally.
But their cost is in the budget. You've got them in here.
HMC
Yes.
is figured into that, yes.
So next year, if you make the change, you just have to revert that cost down and put it appropriated in to cover that person, hopefully for less money.
Yes, and based
Less
on,
cost, forget money. You know, because they might be providing parts and that kind of stuff that you'd be taking out of someplace.
yeah, and I'm looking at what's been spent so far. I mean, you've spent significantly less than half of that line item. So even if there might be a shift as the transition is made, it looks like there's enough money as was proposed for that to take place. Okay.
Maintenance contract.
Yes.
The pickle we're in is the current maintenance staff is a little bit underqualified for some of the things, some of the failures that are going on out there, especially with the HVAC, computer things. And then we call HMC, who we have a contract with. Well, a lot of times they're kind of overqualified. So we need someone who is knowledgeable. I mean, they don't have to be an expert, but because they'll be learning as they go along. Because keep in mind that although it's been called many, many things over the years, that complex, I'm going to call it out there. When I'm talking a complex, I'm talking about the detention center, Old New Jail, Justice Center, is a huge building. Good God, it's got 13 bathrooms in it. That's just for staff. That doesn't count the jail. That's just the Justice Center. So we need someone who's a little bit more flexible and has a little bit more expertise, that knows electrical, mainly electrical, a little bit HVAC, and certainly be able to diagnose these computer systems that control this monster. And that's what it is, isn't it, Phil? Yeah. It's a monster.
So would this person be responsible for all of the county office buildings? Is this only for out there at the Justice Center in that area?
I think, well, we've not discussed that in detail, but we have touched on, Phil and Rick and I have talked about how it would be beneficial if we could allow them to, you know, if we had a HVAC problem here, they could certainly look at it.
Okay.
You know, they wouldn't be necessarily confined to.
Only to that building?
Overlap.
Okay.
Sometimes, but basically, the building itself out there, the jail, the Justice Center, and the sheriff's offices. There's 15 rooftops out there, not counting 2 jailers, and the electrical grid. Here a couple of weeks ago, we had a power outage. Nobody knew where the panel was. Nobody knew the codes to get into it. And it made a point in a dire situation. You don't have time when you got a prisoner sitting in the back in the dark. And that's one of the things. We need to upgrade our training on that building itself.
That's helpful, thank you all.
And might add here, what he just said there toward the end about prisoners
Yes.
being in the dark, no electricity, maybe you could open a cell, maybe you couldn't. You know, there's a huge liability issue there. If you don't have qualified people that can help you muddle through this when there's an emergency, then, you know, could be a jailbreak. Somebody could get hurt, who knows?
Sure. Okay, the next line item I had, or that Phil, you said you come back to was the building and structures insurance. Did you get your quote from that?
That's what we're in the process right now, trying to do, but everything, what they're indicating, we can figure, I think, 10 to 15% increase
Okay,
is what they're.
okay. Okay, and then the next item was the care of patients and inmates.
Well, as you see, we went up to, food prices have risen, and with the amount of prisoners we're gaining, the more prisoners we got, the more cost we've got on food.
Is that not taken care of in the jail budget? The food?
It
for the
is,
inmates?
and it's gonna be something that I think you need to correct with the sheriff. To me, it's kind of a runaway here. And
The food prices, is that what you're saying?
that's what I'm afraid of.
Okay. So,
Care of patients, inmates, if you look towards the back of your book,
yeah,
Quality Correctional Care, they are doing a 3% increase on their contract, which next year will be $190,962.
so this is the kind of care we're talking about?
So 191 of that 260 is straight directed to,
To the nursing care.
yes, to the care out there.
Okay, that's helpful. And so, Phil, the increase then, what's the rest of that money used for?
They'll use it for site evaluations if the court
Okay,
orders one. They will use it if they have to take a correctional officer, an inmate to the hospital. They'll use it if an inmate comes in and has medical issues that they need specific drugs for,
okay,
just things like that.
Yeah, that's just a guess
Yeah.
what that is.
okay. So it looks like what we spent so far is about half. So are you just expecting an increase in medical services, an increase?
It depends on what he does with the population load.
Okay,
The more we gain, the more cost we're gonna have.
okay. Okay, next would be juvenile detention expenses.
I learned, well, actually, we learned last week that the closest juvenile detention center that we were able to take our juveniles to, the one in Clark County is full, so they cannot take them there. Johnson County has decided they're not going to take them, so now we have to take them to Vincennes.
What about Brownstown?
They're not
No.
going to, they're shut down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So Vincennes right now is the only place taking our juveniles, which then requires somebody to drive them. Of course, more expensive housing over there for them.
yes.
So part of that is going to go towards that.
Okay.
We just found that out Thursday or Friday last week.
Okay, and then what else is that? Because it's about an $80,000 increase. What else is spent on that?
That'll be all your juvenile clothing, psych evaluations. We tried to split it out this year from care patients and inmates,
Okay,
like we did last year, to cover the increases.
okay, those were the specific line items that I had questions on and that you said you would come back to address. Council, do you have any other questions on this particular line, or on this particular budget? Okay. With that, Chris, would you like to come forward? Oh, Chris, would you like to come forward?
Well, it's,
Yeah, well, that's good. How are you?
What happens in Hawaii stays in Hawaii.
Yeah,
Well, if you're going to Hawaii, please take me with you.
Been there twice,
Have you?
want me to go back.
Oh, I'd love to go. My in-laws went to celebrate.
Found me a woman to pay the way.
Okay, Commissioner,
And wait on the job page at the end of the day.
page bill 36?
28.
Okay.
No, you're around enough. Are they? Okay.
You do better at it than I do.
Page 28 is what we're going to.
All right, council, we will review page 28 of the commissioner budget for the courthouse. All right, Phil, if you want to, when you get it pulled up, if you want to go down there and talk us through any changes or increases or anything else you'd like for us to know. It looks like everything stayed the same.
Thank you. We're reading off, 0 on the park, unemployment, 20,000.
No, you're on the wrong one.
I'm on the wrong one.
Page 28.
Keep going, keep looking.
What page we on?
28.
There's nothing changed still.
Yeah, nothing has changed on it.
You want to read them off?
You don't have to read them off, Phil, but if there's anything you want to point to, it looks like everything stayed the same, so if you want to, cover something, just let us know.
I think we're still safe on the utilities. We have seen electric go up, we've seen gas go up, and I think we're in a safe range there. I don't see no addition needs to be put in. As far as the heating and cooling filters, yes, in the contracts, we're okay on that. The Justice Center supplies stayed right at 11, and it's pretty well plus or minus, but it's staying within that range. Government building definitely stayed the same.
Okay, council, do you have any questions on the courthouse budget? Okay, with that, we'll move on to seated.
I will point out the increases in seated is, I bumped it up to what we are receiving this year in seated.
You bumped up the expenditures to what we are receiving in seated? Okay. And non-paving, and paving?
That's the 85-15 split, still 85-15, isn't it? Yeah.
So Phil, if you want to go through these, that would be great.
What page are we on here?
29, unseated.
One more.
Sorry. Okay, River Hills, 9326. Animal shelter, 10,000, same as last year. Economic development, 30,000. Paving, 969,186. We probably are going to see some reduction in paving with the distance. because of the oil prices. Non-paying, 172,970. Economic growth, 20,000.
Hey, Bill, has the Economic Growth Partnership approached you about increasing their allocation? Or did they ask for 20,000 again this year? Or I mean 50 total?
I don't think, no.
They didn't ask for an increase? Okay. And then, I remember last year, the city talking about an increase in the animal shelter, about the amount we were giving them. Was that something that you were taking into consideration, or is it the same, the same allocation that you'd like to stay with?
Right now, we feel like we probably, of course, we've all been looking at this pandemic and everything else.
Yes.
And nobody had said nothing this year, so we're
Okay.
holding on 10,000.
How's the animal shelter gonna come out?
It's coming out of two different things. 10,000 is coming out of CEDAC, and 42,000 is coming out of the riverboat wage share.
Okay.
34.
Okay, that's good enough.
That's not what they're giving yet.
Okay, and can you help me better understand with the paving fund when that expenditure comes out? At the time the report was pulled, nothing had been spent out of that line item. Can you tell me what that's gonna look like?
September, October is when they'll start rolling in with those bills.
Okay. Okay, council, do you have any more questions on this particular budget, on CEDAC? Okay. All right, with that, Bill, we can go to page 30 for CUME funds.
Maintenance and repairs stays at 200,000. Fairground expense, 30,000. Park department, 60,000. Detention justice, 220,000. I guess that's it on that one.
Question I would have is on the 3212 line item for the detention and justice center, just the expenditures, and if you have expenses that you anticipate the rest of this year.
You will have expenses as the year goes on that one. And that is going to come back to your general maintenance, mostly HVAC.
Is that also coming out of the line item that we went over earlier for maintenance and contracts?
The actual contract comes out of the maintenance and contracts.
Okay,
This is for, this would be like for seal coating the parking lot, putting lines on the parking lot, installing new toilets, an inmate tears up a padded cell.
that doesn't come out of Brent's budget, that comes out of this one?
This, it'll come, yes, it comes out of this one.
Okay.
I'm looking to see if it's,
So that could fluctuate.
yes. They're up to expenditure of 27,000 right now.
Okay.
Cameras,
Cameras, yeah.
Okay.
cameras.
Big.
We've got one, right now it's 20-something thousand. The camera project. We started at phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 on that. I think we have to complete, or he's completed phase 1. We haven't started on phase 2 or phase 3 yet.
Okay.
And then we do have to do an upgrade right now on phase 1 already.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's around 21,000, something like that. And that's in that.
When I spoke to the sheriff, he had mentioned having, needing space for evidence storage. Is that something that would, maybe a study into that, would that come out of this line item?
He
Or is that,
said something here a while back, he wanted to redo some of the offices in there. We looked at it, and he got a rough figure at one time. And I think the rough figure was 85,000, not counting no engineering. So it have to be bid. I dropped the papers off to him.
Mhm.
It wasn't COVID, but I've never heard nothing back out of it.
Okay. I think it would be helpful, as we, we've done the Justice Center and made all of that investment out there, for that to still be an issue that needs to be addressed. But with the Justice Center the way that it is, it might not, the original plans of when the Justice Center came out might not be the most effective way to address that issue.
When it first started, the Justice Center and the jail, we did in the garage. There was a proposal come up to put new offices down that south hallway.
Yes.
There were offices there, and we ran out of money. So that got dropped. And then the additional, I guess I'd have to say, everyday expense that comes up is pretty well eaten up what you've got left.
Yeah.
And there's no recoup on your money.
Yeah.
Crime doesn't pay.
And at what point do you stop pouring money into it?
I mean, that's,
Well,
That you don't have.
right. Yeah, I think the evidence room is something that we really need to take a look at, or especially commissioners to take a look at with, that's very critical to making sure that our judges and our prosecutors are able to go forward with those cases.
there's kind of no end to it. I mean, we look at everything every day, and this isn't just the only department we've got. And it's becoming, basically, it's been a full-time job of overseeing, and then you get something fixed, and then we find something else coming. And we got some more trouble coming. After we get more numbers, we'll come back to you with that. And I sat here a while ago and I looked, and with the assessment coming in, and since I've been here, and I'm poorly educated, Ben's tried the best he can to lose the cost. But when I look at assessment, and I see we have to upgrade all the time, and I see zero in the budget, and for the software and everything, we know we're going to have to do it. But why don't we put a little bit aside in some of these places, so when it does come due, we don't have to come up with these exorbitant amounts?
Are you talking about with reassessment or assessment?
Yeah. Assessment?
Yeah, I thought we had those, I thought we addressed that last year or the year before.
Yeah, but is it not going to come around again?
You pay for it every,
Yeah, we changed the way that we pay for it. We pay for it every year now.
it's in his budget.
Nothing.
His budget,
I didn't see nothing.
it's under his,
Page.
what is that line, his contract?
Because they also, he restructured those line items too, because it was coming out of a couple of different places, so it was hard for us to tell where he was paying things from.
Correct, and we don't address that all last year.
Yeah,
Not have people like
yeah.
every year instead of like.
Yeah, and so we do a fly over every year, and so that contract comes out every year.
Yeah, that was, that put in.
Mm-hmm. And the line items, all together, yeah.
That's 2 years.
Line items all adjusted.
That's
Yeah,
that.
we're calling it. We combined them. We combined them last
I didn't know she'd come by.
Yeah, that was a very lengthy conversation last year or the year before. That was, it was hard for us to figure out where they were spending money out of. So yes, that has been addressed, and it was an issue.
We'll go over contract bills and still got money on my desk.
We did.
I don't think they do.
In defense of Phil, last year he had he was gone one day, and I'm sure it was that day.
That day.
He had a doctor's appointment. I do remember that. You remember, you and I were here.
So you're saying it wasn't anything I didn't teach him?
It's nothing he forgot, he didn't know.
Yeah. But yes, we did address that. That was an issue, so thank you.
Well, I just seen it there, and I thought, why are we doing that?
Oh, it's probably where we changed the line items then.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay, council, do you have any more questions on that part of the budget for CUME funds? Okay, all right, with that, we'll move on to Charlie.
I don't know, but I want to make sure I'm thinking right.
You're right.
Because I don't-
I was thinking, show me there's like $901,000.
Too many passwords.
All right, hope you all had a wonderful lunch. We will get back into the budgeting process. We are in the commissioner's budget and we will be on law enforcement continuing education on page 31.
Close to 26.
Is that for all? Continuing education, 2,000, stay the same.
Okay? Phil, do you know if they'll be utilizing that line item? At this point, there's about $678 that have been spent out of that.
I think you can actually lower that, because what that fund is, it is a user fee fund. When somebody pays their ticket, $3 of that ticket goes into this fund. Then it is up to the police agency who issued the ticket to submit an accounts payable voucher to claim that $3 that then is supposed to go to that law enforcement department's training.
Okay.
The only ones I'm seeing claiming so far is the DNR and the state police.
Is that something locally they can claim too? Okay, so what would be a fair amount? What have you been seeing over the last few years?
I think could probably knock it down to 6.
Say 5 or 6.
5 or 6?
I'd go with 6.
6? Okay. All right, so we are adjusting that to 6,000. Everyone on the council okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to clarify, that's 30802.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Next, page 32, Phil, jail bond.
Okay, jail bond was 861, 820,
Mm-hmm.
and the justice center was 408. I'm correct on that. Justice.
473 for the Justice Center.
Say it again.
And those are what they are.
Yes.
479,000.
No.
First I'm saying.
Okay. All right, so we've gotten those two, Phil. Now we're going to be on Riverboat, page 34.
Question on that.
Council, do you have any questions on page 34?
Rate, about refinancing,
The payment's still the same.
but what's the possibility of lowering the other bond?
That's for the rest of the.
We looked at it.
Yes, I see that.
There wasn't enough difference, it was gonna knock out. Okay.
All right, 473. And 238.5.
You can go page 34.
Bill, can you talk into the mic, please? I can't hear what you're saying.
Well, we ain't got nothing wrong important to say, you don't want to hear.
We're on page 34 on Riverboat.
Okay, River Hills is 0.
Yes, that's because it's coming out of CEDAT, is that right?
And you got the, excuse me, fair premiums and expenses, 8,000. 4-H club, 6,500. Memorial Day donation, 0. PAC programs, 15,000. Soil and water, 0. Animal shelter, 42,000.
Are there any questions on this one, council? All right, that concludes the commissioner's budget. Okay. All right, with that, if you're ready, you can go ahead and come up, we'll do health department.